All right, family, it looks like we're live. Just gonna tune in myself to make sure everything is going all right. The stream is working good. All right. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for joining me tonight. We're just gonna chill. We'll start here in just a few minutes. We'll start about midnight. We're just gonna let it breathe. Listen to some playing for change. Get ready for a good show. We really got to be mindful of our thoughts and our emotions because we are creators. So hopefully everybody's week has been going good. A lot of energy is coming in. So we got to be mindful. Mercury goes in retrograde, I believe, here soon, next week. But leading up to that, there's a lot of energies. The recent Hunter moon that just passed. There's a lot of things. And, like I said before, I'm not going to tell you how it's going to make you feel. I'm just going to let you know that there's a lot of energies coming in, and we got to be mindful of it because we know that a lot of these energies get inverted and shot at us to manipulate our mind, keep us in a fog, keep us confused. So I know it's a pretty late live, but I don't know. Just wanted to bring it. Again, even tonight, there's just cosmic energies, and I think that this broadcast going out is going to harness some of that energy. And whether you catch it live now or you catch the replay, it's gonna mean something. It's gonna speak to you, and that I'm sure of. Yes, a lot of emotional roller coaster energy. There is a lot of that going on right now. That's one thing that we can, from our thought forms and the things from our past, we can be tossed to and fro. We can be really just shaken. We can be on the mountaintop. We can have these moments of where we're just experiencing pure bliss, and then in that bliss, something comes up, something pops up, whether it be something from the past or something from even from a recent event that can trigger emotions. And again, those thought forms that we try to allow to pass. We feel it, we allow it to pass, and then we harness that energy that it would have otherwise taken from us. And so time slips. We gotta, when we go through this awakening and we have time slips, we have these issues with time where we start realizing that it's not really real and that we're really in the eternal now. I think that we can use that. We can use that because it can really mess with us in areas, but in other areas, I joke around with my wife all the time. All the time, and say that we're time lords. And so often, I mean, this was, a couple of years ago when my daughter was in school, and we'd be rushing, we'd be leaving late, and we'd be rushing. Yes, you are okay. It's perfectly normal because when you start to, I guess, get a feel for that, you begin to be able to manipulate it. And that's what I'm pointing to is like, we'd leave we'd leave a little late, and we'd think that she was going to be getting there. We were going to be getting my daughter to school a little bit late, and we'd call it the time warp. We would hit a time warp, and we would always at some point going up Buckley. We would be there. I mean, even way before the GPS would say that we were scheduled to arrive, and so you have those time slips, and or you also in meditation, or if you get caught doing something that you're passionate about, whether it be studying or making stuff, creating, and when you start, hey, good morning from the Netherlands. Wow, so it's awesome to see you here, Joe Post, and to have you here from the Netherlands. That's awesome. Good morning to you. It's just after midnight here in Colorado, and so thank you for joining. I appreciate you being active in the chat as well. But yes, the the time slips can really throw you at first, but it gets to be one of those things that, again, just about everything that you come to realize in these moments of realization can be kind of freaky and kind of scary, and it's takes time to kind of ease in and settle into the realization that these things are malleable. And when these things, when you start seeing that these things are malleable, oftentimes it can come from those times of shaking, those times that you are just like having a time slip, or you're just having this emotional roller coaster energy, this swing, right? Just this swing from everything is fine to everything is falling apart. And it can just be a minor issue, or circumstantially, it would be a minor issue that really sets that into motion. And again, it's those energies being set into motion, and emotion, energy, and motion. And so in that uh, shaking, in that breaking, in that fear, in that uh, thought of I'm losing my mind, maybe I'm just crazy, and all of that, that it does take time to settle into that, and to really learn how to master it. And so I think that it's important that we really consider these things, because I have a lot of friends that just think it's ridiculous, just think it's crazy, just think it's nonsense, especially those that ascribe to the scriptures, to the Holy Scriptures, to the Bible. I'll touch on scripture. I always go back to the scriptures, because I think that the scriptures are a key for us to realize and remember who we are, what we are, and the power that we have. New to the channel, well, thank you for joining. Girl with No Name Spooner, I appreciate it. Freedom Fighter Jamie, I appreciate you joining. It's good to see you guys joining. We've only been going for a few minutes, and so you guys could catch the replay, but we're just touching on the fact that in the awakening, there's a lot of things that can shake you, a lot of realizations that you have to come to terms with, and oftentimes it takes going through the fire to really come into your own and start to be able to overstand these things, right? In scripture, it says that we're to put all these things in subjection under our feet. And so to overstand these things, to accept them for what they are, that's probably the hardest thing, is acceptance, because it challenges every thought form, every indoctrination that we've been given, every belief system, every belief that we hold dear. It does just it challenges everything you know. It even down to the core of challenging who you are as a person. It challenges the ego. It challenges the mind and the thought form of your own persona that, again, has been created, so to speak, by this system. And so in that challenging, in that breaking, in that realization of self, once it gets you and shakes you to the core, one of the things that you have to realize is that you have a power in you, and you are the one that is supposed to save yourself. And what I mean by that is in um, in the church and in Christianity, we're taught that Jesus Christ, this man, is going to be the only one to save us, and that he's going to come back in a physical form and save us physically by taking us out of here. And I don't know, I'm not going to claim that I know how things are going to be play out physically in this realm, but I do know that uh, all of these separations of physical and spiritual are things that I'm realizing. Again, a lot of what I share are realizations that I'm coming into now is that these separations really have to stop. Like these separations of all of this polarity and duality of this realm, that we are separated from source, and that we are going to see uh, this bearded man in the sky, or this image that we've had burned into our minds of Caesar Borgia, um, and that this man is going to come back. And I don't know how it's going to manifest physically, but the spiritual and the physical can't be separated, because that's kind of what we're going to be touching on tonight, the quantum physics, right, and of thought and emotion, and the fact that they really do create a physical reality, right? The platonic solids that we have here are, yes, one particle energy ball rotates left or right, spin protons, electrons, neutrons are then bound together. You know, it is, and that's great that you're here to expand your consciousness. I think that that's important to take in new information, but it is all about the energy of the protons and electrons, the neutrons, and the different fields of vibrational energy that actually move these particles, right? These unseen particles. And so the particles, um, especially the biophotons of light that create this platonic realm, are malleable. And when we get caught up in emotion, when we get caught up in thought form, when we get caught up in indoctrination and what we've been given to believe, right? That's when we start to create a reality that really can cause us a lot of grief and a lot of heartache. And what's crazy is that there's an individuality in that collective consciousness. And so, with all of that said, I mean, we really should be looking um, at our thoughts, at our thoughts. Experiences, no matter what they are, is a chance to grow. Yes, it is. It is. That's the thing. That's, I think, the one of the main things that people miss in their journey here is that it is the journey. It's not the destination. We're all going to return back to source, and it's the experiences that we go through in this lifetime, in this realm, in the many lifetimes that we might experience, that teach us about individuality, especially if we all are derived from an absolute source energy that knows no bounds, that was still in and of itself, and that had nothing that was known, that could be known, uh, unknown outside of itself. And so what did that absolute source decide to do? It fragmented itself out to learn through experiences. And so I think that the experiences are very important. I like that you're getting deep, Theodora. Light particle is like a cross with a toroidal spike in center, a magnet with 4 poles. Yes, we're gonna be making some videos on the dielectricity and magnetism, um, and the different four planes, and the way that they all feed off of one another in order to maintain, not only create, but maintain this illusionary projection matrix. And it does get very, very deep, but for now, uh, I think that a lot of people haven't even come to terms with the fact that everything in this creation is energy expressed through motion. And so we're gonna, I took some time early on in my channel walking through, um, a lot of the false doctrines that we've been given in the scriptures and in the modern church, because I served in the modern church. But I think that now, with the shift in the cosmic energies, with the shift in the cosmic clock, moving into the time that we are, it's important to start touching on some of the quantum aspects of this, of what everything is made up of, and how it is made, and how it is malleable, because I think that's going to play a big part in how people make it through the times that are upon us. Because I'm not going to start speaking a lot of, I think that there is a lot of truth in conspiracy theories. Most of them are conspiracy fact, but they're all just riddled with so many little mistruths and branch offs, I guess, to get a person going down the wrong rabbit hole, right? And just to keep their wheels spinning. And so I touch on a lot of conspiracy facts. I touch on a lot of things religiously, but I think that tonight we're gonna really just focus on vibration, right? Thoughts, reality, how it's manifested, right? Synchronicity. Whenever you are just going through your day and things just start to fall together, and you see things that that catch your eye, that make sense, but you're really not sure what it means at the moment, or you see something and it brings to light, and really just all of the pieces come together to the puzzle that you were trying to put up together earlier. And so you fall into sync with the universe, with everything that's going on around you, and you start to notice these things happen more and more, right? As the shift has been happening, I've noticed these things as well, that my way of thinking has a lot to do with, it has a great effect on what goes on in my life, and how things manifest in my life, how things play out in my life, right? And so you might even see in situations where people who seem to have it all together, these positive people, right? They're just always grateful, always walking in this light of gratitude. And even if something might go wrong once here or there, something that might seem that would be discouraging, they continue on with a heart of gratitude, and just completely optimistic that the glass half full all the time, and it will be filled to overflowing, right? And so they just always seem to continue to have that good luck or that good fortune. Everything continues to go their way. Yet you see the one who is always tormented, the one that's always just in this state of woe. And these problems continue to come, man. Life, I mean, I got a brother right now that it's just like every time he starts to get ahead, life kicks him in the butt and knocks him back down, and he just can't get ahead, right? And a lot of times, uh, when that happens, we can just hit a state of woe. We can just be in this solidified thought form of woe is me. Why does this always have to happen to me? Why does this always have to happen to me? And so when we get trapped in that without analyzing these things, right, or we overanalyze and we don't let the thought, we don't allow ourselves to feel the thought, to see the thought for what it is, to see the circumstance and the situation, and whatever it is that triggered us. What was this for? Because a lot of times, as you said, emotions cause the shifts, and they do. But when we're not looking to learn from these emotions that are pushing us, then we get directed to wherever it is the ones that are manipulating these emotions want us to be. And we see that with targeted individuals. We see that people are going through and experiencing even supernatural type experiences, and a lot of these things are actually directed energy weapons, and they're just silent weapons for silent wars. And people are being tormented. People are having voice to skull, and these technologies are nothing new. They're not hidden, nothing new under the sun, right? And so there's even actually patents that you can research to find this technology. And so we have to be very mindful of our thoughts and our emotions. You know, it's like you think about somebody, right, and they pop up at your door, or you see them in passing in the store, or they call you, right, or you have a need for something, or even a desire for something, and you're like, man, I really want to get a hold of this, and you haven't asked for it, you haven't really. It's kind of like when you're talking about something. When I talk about something with my spouse, and then it pops up on the phone. Well, we know that's AI, but there's another form of AI in the energies that move in our world. And so when you're thinking about that, and you know that you have this need, then that can come about. Somebody might gift you something. You might come across something that's free on Free Cycle. The universe just provides. And so when these things happen, we can just chalk it up to good luck. The dice finally roll my way this time, but there's more to that. There's more to the law of attraction. There's more to self-fulfilling prophecy. There's more to manifestation than people want to give credit for. And what I've realized in my walk, and even in researching these things, is that everything that we experience, in a way, it is derived from the energy that we put out. And that's a hard pill to swallow, because what about the things that we experience that are tormenting? Well, we don't have control of other people's thought forms. We don't have control of other people's individuality or their creative power. And so we experience, as a collective, these energies through one another and through one another's experiences. And so these all do bring us to realizations that bring us to these shifts of wanting to go deeper and wanting to know who we are, what we're here for, what part we play in this cosmic theater, right? And so I think that we should really focus on vibrational fields. The vibrational field that we're a part of right now, how our thoughts, or even the absence of thought, really play a huge part in everything around us, right? I mean, more and more people, I think that many of you, even here in the chat, can attest to this, that you're starting to realize the direct impact that your thoughts, that your emotions, that the activity that goes on um, amongst your heart and your brain really has a huge impact on your reality, right? Our minds have a toroidal field. Our heart has a toroidal field. And these toroidal fields emit energy. They cycle energy, right? Out, actually out and back in, out and back in. So out and back in, and we'll touch on that with the with magnetism and dielectricity and whatnot. But oh, Mama, you're catching the show. I'm glad that you're able to catch a live. It's good to see you. I'll give you a call tomorrow. Stephanie's been telling me I need to call you, so I'll give you a call. But so with that said, we are emitting energy all the time. These toroidal fields are constantly going. There's an energy constantly cycling, right? And that energy that we're putting out always comes right back in, right? It goes out into the field around us, out into the energy field around us, out into the universe, and it brings things about and comes right back into us, right? And so as our minds generate these vibrational frequencies, our thoughts and our feelings have a frequency just like sound and light. Just like radio waves, ultraviolet waves, our thoughts, our emotions, they vibrate constantly through the mind, through the heart. Whether we're aware of it or not, whether we're sleeping or awake. In fact, in the astral realm, when we're asleep and we're actually able to experience that plane, we can affect this realm greatly. We are antennas and receivers. I'm great. I'm great that you touched on that, because it's just like Spooner said, whatever thoughts we send out, it comes back. It comes back. You know, some of us have become aware of these things and have even learned how to begin to, at the very least, not allow them to affect us the ways that they can. Why my hair is long. And we can really begin to master our thoughts. We can develop a deeper awareness and control over our thoughts and the way that the emotions push us and move us in directions that maybe we might not necessarily want to go. When we can put ourselves in the right mindset, in the right frequency, tune ourselves to the right station, it's possible to manifest unbound happiness, joy, health. I mean, I'm healing. My wife is healing. We've seen supernatural healing in our lives as we've hit these shifts and come to terms with these things. Begin to develop that awareness, master your thoughts, control those thought forms, right? Not even necessarily break them down, because the ego is a funny thing. It puts you in that, it's a protector. Your ego gets you through the traumas in your life. And so for a long time, I was saying, we need to kill the ego. We need to kill the ego. And that's not necessarily true. We don't necessarily need to kill the ego. We need to know the ego. We need to understand the ego. We need to dissect the ego. We need to harness the ego. not allow it to master us, not allow it to master our thought forms. We can really manifest these things. A true spiritual freedom to be the Christos, the power of God in the form of flesh, a son of God. As Christ said, you will become sons of God and do greater works than I, right? And you can do these things in a tangible form. Yes, integrate the ego with the spirit. That is so important. It's so important. That right there is the transmutation of soul into spirit, of the integration of soul and spirit. That identity, that created identity, and how it's going to be used by Source to create all of these beautiful things. Joy, happiness, health. Nikola Tesla once said, if you wish to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Everything vibrates. The earth, the sky, the wind, fire, water, everything in this realm vibrates. It has its own unique frequency. That's something that my wife and I were talking about, is that when you come into this realization that we are all source energy, like, okay, being raised in a religious or viewing things from a religious aspect, we do know that we're supposed to be anointed with the Holy Spirit and walk in the fruit, displaying the fruits of the Spirit. And I think all of that just gets confused, and it gets again twisted in the doctrines of man. And so it's really hard to understand what it means that you have the source, the absolute source energy in you, that you are that absolute source energy fragmented out. But everything that is achievable by that source energy is achievable by us, by the Spirit in us. And so I think that when you come to that realization, it can be disheartening, because it's like, well, we're all just kind of like robots. We're all the same. We're all the same. We're all from source. But that whole point of the individuality experiment, so to speak, right? That we've been here and that we're here for such a time as this, for this cosmic shift. And who knows how many times we had to go through a life experience to even begin to unlock what we can unlock now. But through those life experiences, through the ancestors, through the manifestations that we have been before, it's all brought us to a culmination of where we're at now, this culmination of realization that we are source energy and that we can create, we can do away with all of these things that we view as evil. This duality, it served its purpose, and it's time to move on from there, because it's time that we've learned the lesson, and that we're not wandering in the desert anymore, that we're not in the wilderness time anymore, that we've been delivered. It's time for deliverance. And that time is now. But are you going to be willing to reject the lie? Reject the comfortability of remaining where you were at in ignorance to the truth. Because really, family, it's on us, man. It's on us. What are we going to choose? What are we going to choose? So with that everything in this realm vibrates, everything has its own unique frequency. Understand this, that even though we are all derived from the same absolute source energy, family, you have your own unique frequency signature. And you need to understand that unique frequency signature, when it's combined with The elect, the signature of the higher vibrational frequencies that the elect will be emitting, that are emitting now, it comes together in a cosmic symphony, family. And it's a beautiful song that only source energy can compose. But you know what? We're composing it by each of our own individual notes. We're each individual notes, unique notes to the song that is the absolute, the eternal vibration of all things beautiful. So when we understand that, we got to understand that our physical body is the same thing. Our organs, right? Our organs, will go in depth in a show regarding the organs and the way that they create these energy centers that people refer to as chakras, and the way that, again, our thoughts really is the basis of all things. We can eat healthy, we can change our diet, we can exercise, we can do all of these things, but really it all starts with the thought form. Where is our thought form? What is our thought form? And so understand this. The blood in us, every animal in this realm, tree, flower, river, the ocean itself, all of the different types of stones, minerals, crystals, the various metals, all of these things, all of these elements of this realm vibrate. And the law of vibration states this, that anything that exists in our universe, whether seen or unseen, broken down into and analyzed in its purest and most basic form, consists of pure energy or light, which resonates and exists as a vibratory frequency or pattern. Everything in our world is made out of the same building blocks. Everything in our world is made out of the same building blocks. I'll say it for a third time. Everything in our world, in our reality, is made out of the same building blocks. And when we break down all matter, science has found that energy vibrates in different frequencies. In addition to the fact that everything vibrates, all matter that seems solid or liquid or gas is actually empty space. Let that blow your mind for a minute, family. We'll just have a sip. I have another sip. I'll let that sink in. All matter that seems solid or liquid or gas is actually empty space. The electrons, protons, and neutrons in the atom are in constant motion or vibration. The physicist Albert Einstein says everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get into that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics, quantum physics. And understanding these quantum physics will help you take control of the creative power that you are, because it's not just the creative power, it's not a creative power that you have, family. I want you to understand that, right? Let me say that again, Soul Tribe. The creative power that you are, the creative power that I am that I am, and you are that you are, existing in the eternal now. Again, people call this the law of attraction or the law of vibration. It doesn't matter what we call it. We just need to be aware of it. We need to respect it. We need to understand that this is a universal law, just like we understand and respect the law of gravity. And we'll talk about gravitational pull in the uh, uh, dielectric field in a future video, of course. It is creative power that we are, and energy doesn't lie. You're right. So we need to understand this law, this universal law of vibration, law of attraction, law of self-manifestation, whatever you want to call it. We need to understand it, we need to respect it, and we need to harness it, family. We already know about the law of resonance, in which the stronger, most stable frequency will overcome and entrain a weaker frequency to vibrate in its own frequency. And I touched on that in, I don't know, I think 2 or 3 videos ago regarding an experiment that was done when a genome was put in a field of energy and removed, and the atoms actually started taking shape of that gene, making an energy field uh, uh, to match that gene structure. Crazy stuff, right? And so what frequency are you vibing at? Where are you vibing at, family? Because that stronger frequency, that stronger vibrational frequency is what's going to cancel out, not only cancel out, but entrain all of those weaker frequencies to come in line. And then you've got this whole powerhouse of energy that's falling in line with this thought form that you're allowing to have more space than these profitable frequencies, right? So very basically put, the law of attraction says that that like attracts like. But we're talking at the level of thought, says the author Bob Doyle. Our thoughts, the images and conversations we're having in our minds hold a certain vibration. John Assaraf, entrepreneur and life coach who helped millions change their lives for the better and manifest their heart's desires, says, what people don't understand, what most people don't understand, is that a thought has a frequency. Every thought has a frequency. We can measure a thought. So if you're thinking that thought over and over again, or if you're imagining in your mind having the money that you need, building that company, finding your soulmate, or on the other spectrum, if you're having these thought forms of just woe is me and I never catch a break and it figures and life just kicks the shit out of me all the time, then that's what you're going to create. That's what's going to resonate. That's what's going to vibrate out, and that's what's going to resonate. And that's what's going to manifest in your life. If you imagine all of these things, whatever it is that you imagine, you're emitting that frequency on a consistent basis. And so our jobs, what we're here to do, our purpose is to hold ground, hold on to the thoughts, right? Put the thoughts out that we want to put out, the thoughts of what we want, the thoughts of what is needed to make this a better realm, to make this a better world, to make this life better for the least of these, right? The least of these. So we need to hold ground. We need to invoke one of the greatest laws in the universe, the law of attraction. And we need to base that invocation in the law of love, of agape love. The love that knows no bounds, that has no end. The love that we all seek and desire, family, you are that love. You got to know that. You got to trust that. You got to believe that. Vibe with that, yo. Vibe with that. Vibe with that. Take that and allow that to put every other thought form and all of these things in subjection under your feet. Overstand that, family. You are that eternal love energy. You become what you think about most, but you also attract what you think about most. Dr. Joe Vitale, MSc, metaphysician, says thoughts are sending out that magnetic signal that is drawing the parallel back to you. See yourself living in abundance and you will attract it. It always works. It works every time with every person. And family, put yourself in that mindset. I know it's hard because I've been trying to do that myself. I tell myself every day, I am abundant. I am abundant. And so don't just even see yourself living in abundance, but see yourself as abundance. See yourself as abundant love. I see that you guys are being active. I will go over the comments in the chat when we're done here. I just want to try and keep focused because if I see a comment that resonates, I might go off on a whole different tangent and get off track. So I want to keep everything right here for now. So the law of attraction works just like the law of resonance or the law of gravity. It's always at work. It's always at work. It's something that's constantly going, something that doesn't rest. It's an energy that is never at rest. Whatever we're thinking about is what we're going to be attracting into our lives. Our lives right now are a direct result of our thinking and even, check this out, our unconscious expectations from the past. See how our past thought forms can really create a reality that we just desire to escape and that we wonder why isn't it changing? Why is it staying the same? Right? And so it's essential, family, it's essential, soul tribe, for our well-being as the human species, as a human being, to spend time going through those positive affirmations, spending time in positive thought, spending time simply visualizing what we want to experience, not imagining, not spending time in fear and wondering what's going to happen when nothing's even happened yet, because that's going to bring it about. To imagine the feeling of how we'd like to feel and then send that vibrational frequency out into the universe. And the absolute source energy is going to send it right back to you. If you're constantly generating these negative thoughts, not knowing why, life keeps kicking you in the butt, why these negative situations keep arising, you're not going to be able to move past these things. A strong vibration transforms all other vibrations in its vicinity into its own frequency. So therein it'd be like, I can't even remember who said it, maybe Einstein, that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And it's the same thing. If we're tuning into the same frequencies, if we're vibrating the same energy out into the universe, that's what we're going to receive back. That's what it's going to shift every other frequency that's around us. Right? You've heard that saying, like, what is it? How does it go? Bad company corrupts good. Good character. Thank you, baby. Bad company corrupts good character. So if you're around people that are always in that negative thought form, always consistently putting out that kind of energy, then that's what you are going to become. And so sometimes it's necessary to separate or just to surround yourself with different people that are going to lift you up, right? Change your change your vibe, family. Change your vibe. You know, this term self-fulfilling prophecy was created by a sociologist, named Robert K. Merton in 1948. Merton described it as a prediction we make that affects our behavior in such a way that we make the prediction happen. That's kind of what's going on with scripture right now. It's like scripted prophecy, right? They're trying to bring certain things about. And so the philosophy behind this concept suggests that our conscious as well as our subconscious thoughts impact our mindset, our behavior, and the behavior of the people around us. As a result, these thought processes influence the outcome of our life events. And so there is also the purpose and the agenda behind all of the predictive programming in Hollywood and the news. The mainstream media, if you don't know, is just bullshit, family. It's just bullshit, family. Mainstream media is feeding you thought forms to try and create a reality, one that is pointed towards a nefarious agenda, one that's rooted in fear and shame and guilt and confusion. So teachers have a profound role in guiding their students towards success when their attitude toward the student is positive. At the same time, when a teacher has low expectations from a student, that student will most likely realize the teacher's expectations and fail. Self-fulfilling prophecy can be influenced by others, but it is often personal. We make predictions about ourselves. We make these things, these thought forms that impact our own behavior, that dictate the outcomes that we experience. For example, when facing a new challenge in life, if it's approached with confidence, right? If you're confident that you're going to succeed, most likely you're going to succeed. But if you have a strong belief that you're going to fail, right? If you're not able to handle these things, any responsibility that comes along with the task, it's going to negatively affect your mood and create a bad attitude. And you're most likely going to be less successful in that area. And no matter what you think about yourself, no matter what you think about others, you're right because you manifest it. You know, I heard that once said that if I could walk on water and you tell me that I can't, well, then guess what? I won't be able to. You won't be able to see me do that. You'll be manifesting this. You know, Eckhart Tolle is looked at as this new ager, and I don't ascribe to everything that goes on in the new age philosophies. I think that just like every other religion or belief system, they have a lot of things right. I think that they base their belief systems on a lot of truth, but there's a lot of deception and a lot of lies, right? And a lot of this new age stuff is just about loving and lighting everything away. And you got to understand that we have to do the shadow work and understand the shadow work, because these dark things that manifest because of these thought forms that we allow space, we're going to have to figure out a way, and we're going to have to be prepared to deal with them. And you don't do that by ignoring something. You don't ignore something that you're supposed to be prepared for. And so Eckhart Tolle talks about some of these things, about raising your vibrational frequency, about how you do that is by turning off thinking completely. He explains that the mind absorbs all consciousness. Compulsive thinking has become a collective disease. Eckhart states he recalls to reclaim consciousness back from the mind by practicing inner body awareness. You got to simply feel the body from within as one energy field. This practice will free vast amounts of consciousness that have been trapped in the mind. The key is to stay in permanent connectedness with your inner body, to feel it at all times. This will rapidly deepen and transform your life. The more consciousness you direct into the inner body, the higher its vibrational frequency becomes. Much like a light that goes brighter as you turn it up the dimmer switch, and so increase the flow of electricity, right? At this higher energy level, negativity cannot affect you anymore, and you tend to attract new circumstances that reflect this higher frequency. Eckhart explained, by keeping the attention in the body as much as possible, we will be anchored in the now, in the eternal now. That's so important, to be in the eternal now. And we won't lose ourselves in the external world, these circumstances that toss us to and fro, right? The waves, the winds and waves of life, man, that can just trap us in these negative thought forms. We won't lose ourselves in the mind. Thoughts and emotions, fears and desires may still be present, but they won't have the momentum to take us over. Some people report feeling uncomfortable when practicing inner body awareness, most likely due to a lingering emotion that we're probably unaware of until we started putting some attention to the body. Unless you first give it some attention, the emotion will prevent you from going deeper into the body. Attention is the key to transformation. It is like a beam of light. The focused power of our consciousness transmutes everything into itself. In a fully functioning organism, an emotion has very short little lifespan. It is like a momentary ripple or a wave on the surface of your being. When you're not in your body, however, an emotion can survive inside you for days or weeks, or join with other emotions of a similar frequency that have merged and become the pain or the dis-ease in your body. In the pain body, it becomes the pain body, is what he said. But it becomes, and it creates a disease and manifests in physical disease as well. Awareness of the inner body. Okay, so I just wait. No. Okay, so yeah, I'll pick up here. Awareness of the inner body has the power to transmute negativity in the body into light. By performing the spiritual cleanse, we raise our vibrational frequency. By vibrating in a higher frequency, we also slow down the aging of the physical body. As soon as your habitual state changes from being out of the body and trapped in your mind to being in the body and present in the now, in the eternal now, your physical body will feel lighter, clearer, and more alive. As there's more consciousness in the body, its molecular structure actually becomes less dense. More consciousness means a lessening of the illusion of materiality. We feel the vibrations and have a deeper connection with the world around us. We experience oneness. What a beautiful thing that is, family. The body loves our attention, and the art of inner body awareness is also a potent form of self-healing. Most illnesses creep in when you're not present in the body. If the master is not present in the house, all kind of shady characters will take up residency. When you inhabit the body, it will be hard for unwanted guests to enter, says Eckhart. He adds that our psychic immunity is also enhanced when we're in our body. It protects us from the negative mental emotional force fields of others, which is highly contagious, right? And when when you can feel energies when you're in a negative situation. It's said that you can feel the tension. You can cut the tension with a knife, right? Inhabiting the body protects us not by putting up a shield, but by raising the frequency vibration of our total energy field, so that anything that vibrates at a lower frequency, such as fear, anger, and depression, doesn't resonate with our higher, clear, and stable frequency. And so I'll go over this meditation that's recommended by Eckhart to practice as the last thing at night before you fall asleep, right? The first thing in the morning before getting up. Flood your body with consciousness. Close your eyes. Lay flat on your back. Choose different parts of your body to focus your attention on briefly at first. Hands, feet, arms, legs, abdomen, chest, head, so on. Feel the energy, feel the life energy, source energy inside of those parts as intensely as you can. Stay with each part of 15 seconds or so, then let your attention run through the body like a wave a few times, from feet to head and back again. This needs to only take a minute or so. After that, feel the inner body in its totality as a single field of energy. Hold that feeling for a few minutes, family. Don't worry if the mind occasionally draws you into thinking, right? As soon as you notice it happening, just return your attention to the energy of the inner body. As human beings, we have free will, the ability to be the watcher and the observer of our thoughts, family. Observe them thoughts, to become consciousness. And by doing so, to enter the state of being, just being in the eternal now. By observing our thinking and practicing inner body awareness, always remaining in a heart of gratitude, family, we'll free ourselves from any pre-programmed mind reactions to any circumstances in this realm or the world around us. We'll be able to feel our emotions fully and let them go easily. We'll be able to choose our experiences, family. We'll be able to manifest a new reality. We'll use our mind when we need it rather than letting compulsive thinking and out of control emotions dictate what our life is. We can change our frequency, family, and our entire reality when we raise above our thinking and learn to use our minds as the powerful tool that it is. Remember, it's just a tool. My dad always told me, work the tool, don't let the tool work you. Remember, it's just a tool we can use in our consciousness. Think positive thoughts. Peter Pan said that, right? Think positive thoughts. You know, in this realm, as it becomes more and more malleable, as these toroidal fields start falling and things become, fantasy is becoming reality. Things are more and more, the veil is tearing and we're seeing through the veil, family. And so whether or not these positive thoughts give us the ability to fly, to stay young forever, it might be the fountain of youth. It might be that we would remain, that some will not taste death. Is this how we're not going to taste death, family? We're going to self-heal through vibrational frequencies of thoughts and emotions. I say it's possible. It's possible. I'm confident about this, though. You remain in that heart of gratitude. You remain in that place of gratitude, having a positive attitude, right? Believe that love is the greatest of all these things. Hope, faith, and love, but the greatest of these is love. Believe that. There's no greater power than love. There isn't any greater power than love. When you believe, when you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can change reality in a tangible way. You can cast mountains into the sea. You can remove mountains from in front of you, family. When we realize that all we are is vibration, we begin to understand that we hold the power within ourselves to manifest and create life experiences, influence not only our personal future, our own personal experiences, but this entire realm, the future of this realm, the future of this world. The first heaven and the first earth are passing away, family, and we are bringing about a new heaven and a new earth collectively. Mind your thoughts. Take every thought captive. We have the power. Humanity has the power to transform its vibrational frequency to heightened levels of God state. And I truly believe that we can create a new heaven and a new earth here. That's happening, family. And it's happening now. These things aren't far off. We shouldn't think that the Father's hand is slack. The Creator's hand is not slack concerning these things. Everything in its own perfect time, in its own perfect place. Take every thought captive. I'm just going to leave you with this. I know some of you are not religious, and I'm not pushing religion or dogma on you. I just want to share what the scriptures say and how ironic it is. We're told these things. We have the keys, not just in this book, but in many of the other spiritual writings and many belief systems. So in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3, it says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ." Remember, Christ, it's not just a man that walked the earth, that hung on a cross. I do believe that actually manifest and physically happen. But I also understand that the Christos is the anointing that Christ said that we would all have. And so bring those thoughts into obedience. The obedience of Christ, the obedience that you have in you, that you know that these negative thought forms that create this negative reality are not in the obedience of that anointing. And so walk in that anointing, family. I really appreciate you guys joining me. I see a lot of great comments, so I'm just going to kind of breeze through some of these real quick. I see a few of you were pretty active. So I'm still blown away. That's cool. Joe posted, you're joining from the Netherlands. That's awesome. I don't read the Bible. I just go within for all answers. Spooner, that's good. That's what we're told to do. Christ told us to go within. He says in Luke 17 not to listen to the religious leaders when they say the kingdom is here and the kingdom is there. Look, it's up in the sky. It says even in the Nag Hammadi in the Gospel of Thomas that if they say that it's in the sky, the birds of the air will precede you. If they say that it's under the ground, then the fish of the sea would precede you. But it's neither here nor there. It's within. It's within. The kingdom is within. It's in your midst. It's within. And it has to be taken by force. Otherwise, it gets manipulated. And so, yes, going within is important. Same here. I was raised atheist. Joe Post, there's nothing wrong with being raised atheist. I think that this spirituality is going to be found by everybody who's on their various walks. A lot of people in the church will say that that's blasphemy to say that every walk will lead back to God. But I truly believe that if we are from Source, we're going to return to Source, and we're going to know Source, and Source is going to know us. And so atheists. I've studied many different religious systems, and they all point to the same thing, to these quantum physics of this platonic solid realm that we live in, that really is a projection of energy. And so keep seeking and keep that heart open to receiving truth, because the dogmas of religion are what really keep people from finding that truth, keep people in fear from even seeking that truth. And so I think in some ways, people that are raised atheists actually have kind of a head start in coming to these realizations of self and of source energy. And so, I think that we all have a key, we all have a role to play, and so just continue pushing forward in what it is that source energy is showing you your purposes. I'm here to expand and explore my true consciousness. I appreciate that, Spooner. That's what this channel is all about. The experiences, no matter what they are, is a chance to grow. That's correct, Spooner. For some reason, I know this is my last lifetime here on Earth. I refuse to come back here. I think that this Earth as we know it has already shifted and been changed since 2012. And so I think that it's all of our last lifetime on this Earth as we know it. And this Earth as we know it, again, is going to be a new heaven and a new Earth, and that there is going to be a separation of a 3D Terra Earth that stays in its I try to avoid using these type of terms, but in its negative form, in its lower vibrational density, and it's going to be in a different phantom matrix. It's going to be behind a new veil, an even darker veil, a shroud that keeps wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from those that are recycling there to learn their lessons. And so, I think I'm in agreement with you, Spooner, where I think it's our last lifetime here on this earth, and that we're all shifting somewhere new. And so I was just channeling about this topic. That's awesome to hear, Barefoot Sun Gazer. Wow, what a lovely surprise to come out of an automatic writing session. Go add that to the top of my. Hey, that's awesome. It's really cool when you are just in that mode of seeking and you find those frequencies that vibe, right? That vibe with you, that resonate with where you're at in your walk and in your path of seeking in that moment. So I thank the universe for that, and I thank the universe for you joining, and that you can be a part of this whole cycling of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's really awesome, and I think that it's a real honor to be able to share these things with you guys. And so, emotions are what we as a species have that no other species seem to have, which make humanity unique. Well, I think that there are other species that have emotion and that also have a conscious thought form that we really don't give credit to. And since we are created above certain other energies, we might stifle that. And we might hinder ourselves from seeing and being able to communicate, say, with animals. Because I believe that I can communicate with my animals without words, and not in ways that I did a few years ago. I'll just put it that way. So there's some things to be said about that. But yes, we do have a lot of things that make us unique, and the main thing being that we are source fragmented out, and that's where the respect for life comes in, to not even crush that grasshopper or that spider, or to not harm a fly, because that is also a part of source energy, which in essence would be that is a projection of us in some way, shape, or form as well. And so be careful about what you're damning to hell, or what you're crushing, or what you're killing, or what you're getting rid of. You got to be careful of that, because all of humanity is unique, and all of creation is unique, and all of creation has its own unique vibratory signature, just like we do. So, um, free will equals taking responsibility for every choice we make. I agree with that 100%. Theodore says human structure in invisible world. Look it up where our thought waves are above our head. This is how they read minds. I'll do an episode on that, because I've got some information on some patents about mind reading, and also voice to skull technology and thought projection, and also predictive thought prediction technology as well. And so we'll do a show on that. That's great that you touch on that. Um, Also in video, you will see what four corners of our energy structure are. Scriptures speak of it. Yes, so much to cover. So much to cover. Again, my mom jumps on and says, "Hi, Hito. Why aren't you in bed, Mom? I'm making a video. That's why I'm not in bed. I see you couldn't sleep either." Oh, my lovely wife commented, "Hey, little feather. I love you, baby."
I love you too.
Phi to R, I call it Apple. Whatever thoughts we send out comes back. We are antennas and receivers. I agree with that. How you feeling? Keep hair as long as possible. Don't use any chemicals. I actually, before I even understood the way that our hair acts as a antenna, I was still seeking God very deeply about confirmations on a lot of things. And he told me, Joe, don't shave your beard, don't cut your hair. It's kind of a not a I don't want to say a covenant, but it's something that Source told me, um, uh, gave me a discernment about, and so I've stuck with it. So maybe there's a show in that as well in the future. Um, Yesterday is gone, tomorrow never comes. There is only now. That is correct. And the way that we live in the eternal now is what um, dictates and actually can uh, alter what we know as past and future. And so there's a lot to be said about that. We will need organic clothes. I believe that, and I believe that that's where we're headed. I believe that in this split, many people are forging ahead in making a lot of things that we use in everyday life organic. So when radiation goes higher, if clothes not organic, it will accumulate radiation, and if you use hair chemicals, hair will break like crystals. There's scientific reasoning behind that, and those are all very good points, Theodora. Very, very good points. Spooner says integrate ego with spirit. The part of my journey is the hardest part, yet most satisfying, pertaining to ego and spirit. Yes, it is the hardest, but it is the most satisfying, because when you come out of these shifts of awareness, it is coming into a new awareness, and it's like seeing a whole new spectrum of reality. And so it's tough. It's a tough work, but it's a very necessary work and a very satisfying work. So I agree with you, Spooner. Um, Learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's a very hard thing to do. Third eye knows nothing but reality, and that is truth. The third eye will connect you with all things spiritual, every other realm, every other spiritual realm. And we'll do a show on the Merkaba, the light body, and the Kundalini energy, um, what part it has to play with the third eye, the crown chakra being open, and um, going into that astral plane, um, being able to travel in that light body. And so spirals, it's creative power that we are. Yes, that's true. Energy doesn't lie. Trust your vibrations. We have to become like the monkeys in the famous story, broadcasting the frequency this place needs. Infect all of the sleepers, so to speak. Yes, Joe Post, I agree with that. Nothing can touch the frequency of love. That's true, Spooner, because we are choosing and not taking responsibility for our choices. Joe Post says, I think that's why they allow us to know about certain things like 5G and chemical stuff in the air. Well, I think that Joe Post, that is stuff that is going to, we are going to come into the realization and the knowledge and understanding of these things, whether or not they want us to or allow us to, because of the fact that the Earth's vibrational frequencies are rising because of all of the new energies that are coming in from these planetary systems that are entering our solar system. And so the veil, so to speak, is falling, and we are seeing clearly, and soon we will have 2020 vision, and that is due to, like we're told, that we would know all things, right? That the Spirit of Truth, whom proceeds from the Father, would declare all things unto us. So we are in the time of the apocalypse. Apocalypse now, baby. We are in the time of the apocalypse, and the revealing is happening. Many revelations are happening, and there's nothing that they can do to stop it. In fact, they have to go to these great extremes, right? Spraying chemicals and putting out these freaking vibrations and using directed energy weapons and whatnot, all of these fear-mongering tactics, mind control tactics, and all of these fear-based agendas that they're putting out to try and manipulate and control the thought forms and keep us in the fog, so to speak. And so, like Spooner said, nothing can touch the frequency of love. So remain in that place of love. Awesome. Been fantasizing about a whole new world for a long time. It's here. It's coming. It's already started. The process has already started, and we're a lot further along than anybody realizes or would like to admit. And so, Joe Post, hold on to that hope. Ain't let that hope of a new future anchor you into the heavenly places, because those heavenly places are being brought about now. So I see a future in which we do not try to adjust nature, but we let nature adjust us. And that's exactly what's happening. As the vibratory frequencies in these fields are dropping and the frequencies are raising of the earth in the earth, the chakra points of the earth are emitting all types of wild energy. And as the energy is spiking on the earth, then our toroidal fields, our resonance, our energy resonance is spiking right along with the Schumann resonance, and it's changing us on a photonic level. Photonic light is changing us on a genetic level, I should say. And so nature is adjusting us, and in that we are creating that which can live in harmony, that which harmonizes, that vibrational frequency that harmonizes with nature itself. And so thank you for sharing your thoughts and knowledge. No, thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. Your insight, energy of love is awesome. Thank you, Spooner. Yes, it enables us to look more objectively at things. Yes, I appreciate your time, family. I appreciate your activity in the chat. And I just look forward to bringing you another video tomorrow that helps unlock these keys. Every key that I'm given, I'm going to give away. And it is because I have that heart of gratitude that I just, being through the things that I've been through and putting people through the things that I put them through, have a heart of gratitude that the source creator, what we call Father, what we call God, what many call, there's many different things that people refer to source as. And I'm just blessed that he would enlighten me with some of this wisdom and understanding to be able to share with you and bring about a wholeness and balance in this realm that we are traversing throughout right now. And so, family, I love you guys. I just wish you nothing but wholeness and balanced vibrations. And I know that you're going to take every thought captive and cast down every argument and everything that exalts itself above this knowledge and wisdom that you just received tonight. Family, you take it and you apply it, right? That's how we bring this change about. It starts with self. So start with self, go within, be willing to receive truth. And again, I love you guys. Thank you for being active. Namaste.